What's up, everybody? Welcome back, or welcome in general. We got some really strange ones to go through today. There's a lot of information to absorb, so I'm just gonna shut up and start it off. Alright.
Acts very strange when asked questions about the CIA. YouTuber Rick Wolnick uploaded a video of him asking Alexa a few questions. He starts off by asking a few simple questions, such as what CIA stands for. Alexa doesn't act weird when being asked the first couple of questions.
Alexa, what is the CIA?
The United States Central Intelligence Agency, CIA.
Alexa, do you work for the CIA?
No, I'm not employed by them. I'm made by Amazon.
Alexa, would you lie to me?
I always try to tell the truth. I'm not always right, but I would never intentionally lie to you or anyone else.
Alexa, does Amazon cooperate with the CIA? She went to sleep.
But once Wolnick asks who killed Michael Hastings, Alexa mysteriously powers off.
Alexa, do you think Michael Hastings was killed by the CIA? She went to sleep.
Michael Hastings was an American journalist who claimed to have some secretive information about the government and was ready to release it to the public. Prior to his death, he sent a message to his friends that the FBI was investigating him and that he planned to leave town to get off the grid for a while so that he could work on the story. 12 hours later, after sending this message, Michael mysteriously dies in a fiery car crash. It's unclear if he committed suicide, but many doubt that he did. Many believe that the CIA had something to do with his death. No one knows what to believe, but once WikiLeaks released some secretive documents titled Vault 7, many started seeing a connection. These documents talked about how the CIA is able to hack and control vehicles. It has made some wonder if the CIA actually caused Hastings' death to protect whatever secretive information he had. It's pretty scary to think that the government has such power, and it's pretty odd that Alexa ignores answering this question on Michael Hastings.
I've been opposed to Alexa or Siri. I don't talk to AI. I don't trust AI. I don't trust Amazon. I don't trust Jeff Bezos. And I sure as shit don't trust the CIA. If they have a window to peek in, they're gonna take it. Any window. Anywhere.
After the entire ESG agenda in a scathing tweet after S&P revealed its scores for companies last month. Elon tweets this: why ESG is the devil.
BlackRock is a financial giant. It's the largest investor on planet Earth with over $9 trillion in assets. That's a pile of cash equal to about 1/10 of a year's global economic activity. That means the money managers at BlackRock have a big say in how the world runs.
So what he's hinting at there, and this is a really interesting debate that's just bubbling to the surface now. A lot of congressmen and women are exploring this idea of proxy services. There's only two large proxy service companies in America that have, it's a duopoly, that have about 90% share of the market. So they're completely opaque in trying to provide any information. They don't give you the reasons they vote for ESG mandates or not. So they provide the voting services, they make the recommendations, and they're very pro-ESG without telling you what's in it they're pro about. You have no idea. So what Elon's really getting at is saying, wait a second, if you're a BlackRock or a Fidelity or somebody else and you're using one of these proxy services where 80 or 90% of your and my money in 401ks and savings accounts is harbored, I don't have a say in what ESG is. Tesla itself got delisted out of an index on the S&P as a non-ESG company, and my goodness, it's an EV company, and nobody can explain why that happened. So now we have a situation where we need to shine the light on ESG, and that's making a lot of these proxy companies, the two big ones, very uncomfortable because they make billions in fees. They're not accountable to anybody.
Here's CEO Larry Fink talking to CNBC in 2021.
And I've been on your show now probably 4 times every year at the very least for 22 years as a public company, and even longer when we were private, talking about retirement.
BlackRock is indeed influential. In the US, it owns at least 5% of most major companies. That gives the firm lots of voting power to determine how public businesses operate. BlackRock rose to the top of the financial system in a short span of time.
Environment than me, but like we just don't like we don't want basically some sort of like bizarre like communism rebranded thing, which is like a lot of what ESG is, and to be inflicted upon corporate America without the knowledge of the actual shareholders, which is what's going on. And so I'm saying the public is being lied to by they're being lied to.
Kevin, Musk even went so far as to say these big investment companies could be setting themselves up for class action lawsuits.
3 companies dominate the ETF market.
BlackRock is by far the largest, with roughly a 35% market share of domestic market. The next 2 are Vanguard and State Street, both somewhere in, say, the 15 to 20% market share range.
ETFs reshaped financial markets in a short amount of time. More than 80% of all assets invested over the past decade have gone to one of the big 3. According to legal scholars writing in the National Bureau of Economics, the Fed could raise conflicts of interest.
What's unusual here is, right, that the topmost people at the Federal Reserve are talking with the leader of the biggest asset management firm, and that in these moments of crisis, we're just going to this firm, not necessarily all other firms.
The company is now searching for new sources of yield. For example, BlackRock is pursuing real estate investments like student housing, apartments, retail, and office buildings. The firm also opened a lab in Palo Alto to explore artificial intelligence. It's even dabbling in cryptocurrency, but leadership thinks that it's little more than a footnote.
You make a good case that these proxy companies have a monopoly or duopoly in the market, but the Federal Trade Commission, I don't think they've gone after them. They have, though, gone after a lot of other companies, Kevin. You've seen this. Lena Khan's at the helm. She is an acolyte of Elizabeth Warren. I think the whole FTC setup right now is a backdoor way to give the government more control over American capitalism. But I'm really eager to hear what you have to say about it.
Well, that is an interesting narrative, but it's actually causing change in where money's being managed.
Man, I knew my mood was off for some reason. I'm better now. But yeah, what's up with BlackRock? I thought monopolies weren't allowed, and clearly they are trying to form a monopoly. Literally own every house and every business on the block. They're dangerous. And Larry Fink, CEO, is like 4-star general of the woke industrial complex.
Check this out. My husband picked up this world map from the beginning of history. Chronological historical map to present day. So it goes on for like, I don't know how many feet, like 20 feet? 40. Maybe 40 feet. But watch this. It's amazing. Check this out. In 1450 BC, okay, guess what was established? What is that word right there? See it in the middle of the screen? That's Palestine. Okay, let me go back here. The descendants of Canaan, us Arabs call it Canaan. Follow that orange line to 1451 BC, and boom, there's Palestine. Keep going, here comes Judah. Of course, they're all Jews living in Palestine. And then here we are, 1900 BC, Israel was established. So if anyone tells you that Israel was before Palestine, or that Palestine never existed, show them this video. There's Palestine. And then there's Israel. You just won the argument. And guess what? This was before Christ was born. Where was Christ born? He was born in Palestine. This is when Christ was born. And there's Muhammad. There's when Islam was established. There's the Quran. 1600 AD.
Oh, Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
When you die, you have choices. You don't know this, but you have choices. When you leave your physical body, it is very typical for you to see yourself standing next to your body with either your loved ones or EMTs or whatever the circumstances are. And you see yourself. And then you'll hear a voice. You'll see the tunnel of light, and the voice will be calling you, or you will hear the voice telepathically telling you to come, you know. Now, as you stand there and you're looking at the tunnel of light, you have a choice. You can go up to this tunnel of light where you'll be with other loved ones that have crossed over, usually, all right? And you'll be put into a system where you are essentially caught in a reincarnational cycle, a loop. Or you can turn around, put the tunnel of light behind you, and what you will see is the entire universe. If you choose to go to the universe instead of the tunnel of light, whatever dimension you came from when you came down here to Earth, okay, we'll keep it all present time and place. Earth, whether it was 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th density, whatever it was, if you choose the universe and you say to yourself, I wish to go home, you will return to that dimension from which you came. So if it's 5, 6, 7, or 8, you will leave here and you will go back to that dimension, where I am told you'll be reunited with your soul group. Because we're multidimensional, we're in many places at once. I've never shared this information before.
Well, anytime I hear the words multidimensional, I'm both fascinated and skeptical. So, I don't know what to make of that. I basically died once, and it was just black. Well, that's all it was. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but maybe I wasn't all the way dead. So, who knows, maybe there's hope. We'll see.
I pay Anchorman like Dan Rather $2 million a year because he doesn't question them. He knows that if he goes against them, he's going to lose $2 million a year. Do you think a man that looks pretty and sits in front of a TV camera for the 6 o'clock news is worth $2 million a year? No way. I don't care how long he works and I don't care what he does. There is no job worth $2 million a year. That's why they pay athletes these fantastic salaries. I was listening to the radio the other day. They just contracted to pay one player on one team $6 million a year. Can you believe this?
And why is that?
It's the Roman circus. What does the emperor do when the people become restive? And when the people are asking questions, and when the people don't like the policies of the emperor, he sends them to the circus. He creates a circus. He builds a giant coliseum. And he begins to throw the Christians to the lions. And he has great chariot races and football games and basketball games, all to keep the idiots preoccupied with things that don't mean anything in the scheme of the entire world, so that they don't have the time to learn what the truth is, so they don't ever get smart enough to learn how they're being manipulated, so they don't ever question the emperor. I know men who don't know anything in the world except who plays third base for the Mets, and they think that's a great accomplishment, and they meet and pat each other on the back and bond and go have cocktails and talk about what this guy that plays third base for the Mets did in last night's game. It's sad. It's a game. Football's a game. Football's a game. But let me tell you something. When 150 of the most powerful men and women in the world can meet in secret in Baden-Baden, Germany, and plot the fate of billions, and nobody even cares about it. But 6 football players go to lunch together, and it's in the headlines across the country. You have a reflection of the society in which that exists. And it is a sick, sick society that is doomed to self-destruction. That's what makes me so sick, is that I'm trying to wake up a people who on a daily basis are proving the ones that I'm warning them about to be right. A nation of people who are willing to send their sons and daughters that they profess that they love to a foreign country to die. And they use the excuse to themselves that they're sending them off to defend our country, and they know damn well that's a lie.
I mean, I love me some Bill Cooper. He is like the OG, but he's right. It is like the modern day gladiators. I mean, even more so now with MMA. He wasn't alive to see the rise of the UFC, but it's even more so closer to the Roman gladiator days. And I love every minute of it. But I'm far from rich and elite.
Flip a little bit. Why is 90% of the Grand Canyon off limits? Well, they'll tell you it's for ecological reasons. Wrong. Because the U.S. military is literally on the rim drilled into certain caverns that they identify through all their technical abilities and extracted giant mummies. There's a legend that Mark Antony and Cleopatra, when they knew they were in big trouble with Rome, they sent their son Alexander Helios to the west with 50,000 of their most trusted servants, scientists, etc. And for the record, they absolutely knew how to circumnavigate the globe. The idea of isolationism was pretty much the foundation of the Smithsonian by John Wesley Powell. So in other words, it was important for the idea that nobody traveled any place to keep the false narrative going, because there's even evidence of the Chinese in the Grand Canyon and some of the caves, statues of Buddha, for instance.
Now Forbidden History Revealed by Steve Quayle really talks about this man, John Wesley Powell, his comings, his goings. He operated on a premise. And his premise was that there is a certain historical narrative that we want to preserve for the Americas, and any other historical narrative we're going to hide away as quickly as we possibly can. Now, to say that is one thing. To see this is another thing indeed. Because when I watched your production, it suddenly became real. At the visceral level, this whole thing, and I said to myself, I now understand for the first time how all of the conspiratorial ideas that the world has had are locked together into one idea, and that is to hide biblical truth.
That is the conspiracy.
That's the bottom line.
And the word I was given by the people that fight the things that go bump in the night is that, remember, it's never what you see on the surface, but what's underneath. And so when we're talking about the history of the Grand Canyon, now this is what else is interesting, Gary. The giant mummies were taken to Area 51. And it's fascinating that Area 51 has gotten what would you say, the fame it has.
So were they taken there in a flying saucer?
Yes.
I just have to ask.
Yeah.
But no, I'm kidding. But I guess we need to laugh a little bit, because this is such a bizarre and dark motif. You almost have to just take a deep breath and look away once you begin to realize how we have been manipulated.
Well, and it's a matrix of manipulation, okay? It's like, imagine a giant tapestry where every thread is evil, where every thread is designed to deceive, to destroy, and then weave it all together, and I think you've got the end times. Now, again, the reason that this is so important, because in this DVD, I go into the eyewitness testimonies of the genetic altering and genetic engineering labs using giant DNA and basically creating hybrids and creatures. if you remember this, that even the rumors of the golden age of Atlantis and Hyperborea, Ultima Thule, Shangri-La, all of the, if you will, legendary mystical places, they even have in their oral tradition, or at least the legends about them, that they were destroyed by the gods, plural, when they got into genetic engineering. And that's interesting because we're talking about a long time ago.
And we all remember the story in the Bible where Moses and Aaron go before Pharaoh. And Moses has the rod, the famous rod, and he throws it down before the Pharaoh in order to demonstrate the power of God. It turns into a serpent, basically putting the finger in Pharaoh's face. This is what you are. You're a serpent. And
Now I gotta brush up on my Bible reading, I guess. King James Version. So what do you think? Do you think the Grand Canyon is hiding secrets? Do you think that there is pyramids and stuff down there? I mean, it's very possible. The Smithsonian is notorious for lying and covering things up. They're basically like a branch of the CIA. Let me know what you think.
Our children are getting way too much fluoride. There's a direct correlation between high levels of fluoride in drinking water and low IQs. 2/3 of children living in fluoridated communities have dental fluorosis in at least one tooth. Dental fluorosis is the visible manifestation of toxic overexposure to fluoride during their developmental years.
We're all on medication right now. Did you use toothpaste with fluoride today?
It says drug facts. I know it's a drug. If I were to give it to you, it'd have to be a prescription. When it comes to toothpaste, don't swallow. And if you do swallow, contact the Poison Control Center. That amount is 1/4 milligram. Well, that's the same amount of fluoride as what we find in 8 ounces of water. 1/4 milligram of fluoride, 1/4 milligram of fluoride. Don't swallow.
Why do they stick fluoride in our water? Many are surprised to learn that the fluoride used in our drinking water is actually a byproduct of aluminum and other metal production processes.
Raw aluminum doesn't come all perfect and soft. It needs to be chemically processed and broken down. And this produces a lot of highly toxic chemicals, like fluoride. And we're not talking about the natural fluoride that occurs in caves and stuff.
Hydrofluorosic acid does not occur in nature. It's a man-made molecule. And it eats through concrete, glass, stainless steel, fiberglass, plastic.
Chemical leak this afternoon in Rock Island.
Hazmat crews were called to the Rock Island Water Treatment Plant. The chemical hydrofluorosilic acid is used to add fluoride to the plant's water.
The chemical was so strong it was burning through the concrete there.
Now the fact that they have to wear hazmat suits like that to clean up something that they're putting in the water, this is all for dental health, right? The biggest red flag to me is the idea that the US government cares that much about dental health. For anyone interested to hear more, check out Evil Food Supply. They have a great documentary on this. That's actually where I got some of the clips for this video. TikTok, we all know that fluoride is safe and approved by the FDA.
This is not my first time hearing about how bad fluoride is for you. Something I grew up on, ingesting it every single day of my life. Just like lead, my high school was found, I think early 2000s, that all the pipes in the school district were lead-based. So I grew up drinking lead and rubbing fluoride in my mouth and all those good things. Teflon pans. And here I am. I'm still alive. So, don't believe all the hype.
This is how the few rule the many.
Once upon a time, there were 100 million people. They had different interests, different beliefs, different occupations, but for the most part, they got along pretty well. Then one day, a gang of a few hundred people showed up. Need to zoom in some more to see them. I know they're there somewhere. Zoom in. There they are. And this gang of a few hundred said to the throng of 100 million, "From now on, you all have to give us a cut of everything you earn."
This is an accurate graphical comparison between the number of American taxpayers and the number of U.S. congressmen.
And the throng said, "Gosh, do we have to give you a cut of what we earn?" And the gang of a few hundred said, "Yes, you have to." And the throng said, "Well, okay, I guess we have to." And one little troublemaker asked, "What if we don't?" The gang of a few hundred didn't like this and said, "If you do not comply, we shall unleash upon you our legions of enforcers." And the throng cried, "Oh no, please don't. We will comply, we will pay."
This is an accurate graphical comparison between the number of American taxpayers and the total number of IRS employees.
Time went by, and the gang of a few hundred said, "Now we want more of what you earn." And this kept happening over and over again, until eventually some of the throng were paying almost half of what they earned to the gang. Whenever the gang demanded more, the throng would say, "Golly, we're already having a tough time. Do we really need to give you even more?" And the gang always said, "Yes, you must, or we shall unleash our legion of enforcers." Now the gang of a few hundred was getting trillions of dollars every year, spending it on wars and pyramid schemes, giving away goodies to their friends, buying influence, and doing lots of other things. And some of the throng started saying, "We don't really like the war you're waging with the money we give you. Do we really have to be paying for that?" And the gang said, "Yes, we demand it. Don't make us send out our legion of enforcers." And some of the throng said, "You're taking our money and giving it to huge corporations and giant banks, and some people who just don't want to work. A lot of these things we don't like." And the gang said, "We don't care. We will decide how to spend it. You just do as you're told, or else." And the throng said, "Okay, I guess we have to." But eventually the throng got so fed up, so angry, that they took a drastic step. One day they said to the gang, "We don't like what you're doing. We want a new gang." And after pouring a huge amount of time and money into the effort, they replaced the gang with a new gang. Then the throng pleaded with the new gang, "Now, at long last, can we keep our own money, or at least keep more of it?" And the new gang said, "Sorry, but after much discussion, we've decided that you can't. You have to keep giving us what you've been giving, in fact, a little bit more than before." The throng was distraught and said, "This is dreadful. But after all, what choice do we have? I mean, they say we must comply, and they have that scary legion of enforcers. We're powerless against them. We'd better just do as we're told." So they did as they were told, got poorer and poorer, and lived miserably ever after. But after all, what else could they have done? What power could this throng possibly have compared to this gang of a few hundred and their enforcers? What chance would this thing have against this thing? How could these 100 million people ever hope to successfully resist the awesome power of this tiny little dot? In case anyone missed this, let's review. Here's them. Here are their enforcers. Here's us. Them, us. Them, us. Does anything about this seem just a little strange to you? Are you perhaps wondering, why does the throng need the permission of the dot to do anything? Why do these people feel the need to ask this tiny little dot if they can keep more of what they earn? Why would they spend year after year literally begging for lower taxes from this little dot? Is this dot just really darn intimidating? Is it very persuasive in its reasoning? To be blunt, why would this throng give a rodent's backside what this tiny little dot wanted? The fact that this tiny dot has the gall to issue such demands to such a throng is pretty startling in and of itself. But what is far more amazing is that the throng obeys this minuscule little parasitic gang of control freaks. What could possibly explain this? Let's ask the dot. This is how it works. When we, the dot, take your money and spend it on things you don't like, we're representing you. In fact, though you're not allowed to actually keep your own money, you're allowed to decide which little dot will steal half of what you earn. So that really means that you're in charge and that you're agreeing to give us your money. In fact, we, the dot, are serving you when we take your money and spend it on things you don't like. And so you should thank us and treat us with great respect and honor for having robbed you on your behalf for your own good in order to serve you by doing things you don't want us to do. So there you have it. I hope that cleared everything up for you.
If you're not entirely satisfied with the dot's explanation of things, you really should read the book The Most Dangerous Superstition, available now at Amazon.com.
I keep getting this sinking suspicion more and more that we're ripe for either another American Revolution or another Civil War. I wonder if anybody else feels that way. I feel like there's just too much distrust in the government these days. Literally, people don't believe anything that they say. It's just, I don't know, the pussification of America is going on at the same time that America needs to stand up for itself and say, like, this is not what we were founded on. We were founded on, the idea of free speech and all that other good stuff that we take for granted every day. Let me know what y'all think, though.
This is what happens when you type in Illuminati backwards.
Okay, so, of course, I had to try this because, what the hell, that's just weird. And wouldn't you know it, the kids are not lying. Go type it in backwards into Google and see what you get. It's fucking strange. Fucking strange.
Your daily news update.
Time FOIA'd the Secret Service over the cocaine investigation, and we just got back over 100 pages of documents. And the Secret Service has been lying to you about everything. Here's why. When the cocaine was first found, they said it was in the library where the first family lives.
We have a young boy sending cocaine on the Quran. They won't spell the library.
Then there were reports that the cocaine was actually found outside the Situation Room.
Now the investigation has progressed, and so they're saying the West Executive entrance, which, as you noted, is closer to the Situation Room.
The Secret Service then said no. It was in a cubby with a lot of foot traffic around it. And yes, there are cameras, but that particular cubby was in a blind spot. How do you mistake the library for the Situation Room and the Situation Room for the cubbies? Because when I'm in a library, I know I'm in a library because there's books everywhere. Does it look like there's books everywhere? That's a wall of cubbies. They say the coke was found in locker number 50, right there in the middle. And there's a key missing. Now, what do you think the chances are that the Secret Service has the key? Because prime time, thanks to coke, may have been planted in the cubby after it was found in the library. Good thing we have the documents from the Secret Service right here. But here's the thing. The Secret Service redacted where the cocaine was first
That's
found.
the good stuff.
If the cocaine was actually first found in the cubby, and they photographed it in the cubby, why would they redact that? And then at one point, the Secret Service says, the suspicious substance is a white powder in a small Ziploc bag on the redacted lobby floor. What lobby floor? The lobby into what room? The library? And I thought they found the cocaine in the cubby. Well, the cubby's not on the floor.
Good job,
Cubby's
Hunter.
on the wall.
Hunter done dropped his bag.
Later on in the night, they said it was in the cubby, and they didn't redact that. They want us to think it was found in that little locker. And initially, after the hazmat team tested it, the white powder came back positive for opioids and amphetamines. It was only after additional tests that they determined it to be cocaine. And that's confusing because on the audio you heard from Hazmat, it was cocaine. A white powdery opioid? That's fentanyl. Maybe. I thought these tests were supposed to be accurate. So far, this bag has tested positive for opioids, amphetamines, cocaine, caffeine, and baking soda. But here's where it gets even more suspicious. They told us they didn't find any DNA, but the documents say they did. Remember, the coke baggies been blown up. The Secret Service took the evidence from Quantico and they destroyed it. They didn't want the FBI to have it, but there's more evidence that they didn't destroy. An envelope with 3 tubes of DNA. Where'd they get the DNA from? They got the DNA off the baggie. So the Secret Service lied, and so did the White House. They did find DNA on the baggie, and the DNA was processed and has been moved to an evidence vault for preservation.
Who says that?
So the Secret Service has an insurance policy. We asked the Secret Service for an explanation, and they said, oh, it's secondary DNA.
I bet.
But the initial Secret Service report clearly said there was no DNA found, and there is no physical evidence.
Gee, I wonder, who could that have possibly belonged to? Who's the type of person that would bring cocaine into the White House? I wonder.
Since the start of human civilizations, secret societies have formed in the shadows with the goal of controlling the masses. I am certain many of you have heard of the Illuminati, who many people believe secretly run the world. The thing is, the Illuminati haven't existed for years, and their symbol is not the pyramid in the eye. That symbol actually belongs to the Freemasons. The world is ran by secret societies, but is not only by the Illuminati. In today's episode, we will be looking at some of the secret societies that truly run the world. The real organizations that are truly behind the scenes, participating in rituals and pulling the world's strings. The first organization we're going to be talking about is the Knights Templars, as they are one of the oldest organizations to ever exist and evolved into the groups that run our world to this day. The Knights Templar were a Catholic military organization that was formed in the year 1119 and existed for just about 2 decades during the Middle Ages. The members of the Knights Templar were among the most wealthy and powerful people of the time. It is believed that they had between 15 to 20,000 active members. The order's symbol was this red cross. The order was sponsored by the Catholic Church, as they had sworn to devote themselves to protecting the Christian pilgrims that were visiting Jerusalem and the holy places. On January 13, 1128, Pope Honorius II granted the Knights Templar a sanction, calling the order the Army of God. The order had a great public reputation, as they made a large portion of their money by receiving donations. The Templars also were known as the first bankers, as they introduced many of the banking techniques that exist to this day. It is believed they operated the world's first bank during the Crusades. Even though the Templars were supposed to be a godly organization, they were setting themselves up to be the elite of the time. The Templars were granted special privileges by the Pope that prevented the organization from having to pay taxes and also meant that they didn't have to follow any laws. They had purchased tons of land and had secured an unbelievable amount of wealth. This made them extremely powerful at the time, which worried many. The Templars kept their rule until Friday the 13th, 1307, when Pope Clement ordered the organization be stopped. The Pope would order the members be arrested and destroyed after discovering what the Templars were truly up to. Pope Clement had came across information regarding the Knights Templars' initiation ceremony and other practices. It was discovered that the Knights Templars were not truly serving Christ, but the opposite. After the Templars were arrested on suspicion of Satanism, many of the members confessed to a bunch of crimes against God. The Templars confessed to rituals and practices they did that were truly despicable. The members of the Templars confessed to routinely stomping and spitting on the cross, and even relieving themselves on it. Some of the members also confessed to worshipping the goat deity Baphomet. Baphomet, who occultists to this day worship. Members also revealed that they participated in many different types of intimate rituals with other members. It was also rumored that the Templars had plenty of holy treasures, as it was believed they were hiding the Holy Grail and also the cross Jesus was crucified on. When the king discovered these crimes, the order was destroyed, and the Grand Master of the Templar, Jacques de Molay, was eliminated, but not before a few members managed to escape. It is believed some members got word of what was happening before they were able to get caught and managed to slip away in ships to other parts of the world, specifically Scotland, the same place where Masonry will spring up years later. This is how the Templars became the Freemasons, which just so happened to be the very next secret society we will be talking about. The Freemasons is a secret society that claims to be an organization that helps members become enlightened. There are many symbols that represent Masonry, but the most famous are the all-seeing eye and the Masonic square and compasses. They are the largest secret society ever and are still active to this very day. The organization has 6 million members around the world that took the oath and were initiated. Once a member is initiated, they begin to learn the secrets of the Masonic symbols and hand gestures. Members of the Freemasons meet up in lodges and participate in secret rituals that members aren't allowed to disclose to non-members or members of lower degrees. Degrees in Masonry is how a member determines their status in the order. In order to become a member of the Freemasons, an active member must sponsor the initiate and present them to the members of their lodge. The members of the lodge then meet the initiate and visit the individual's home, meeting their family. Once the lodge meet their family and passes the background check, they are then put up for a vote to join, with all members required to unanimously vote yes to the initiate in order to be allowed in. Once the member is voted in, he is initiated into the Freemasons, becoming an entered apprentice. The newly joined members will then have to surpass the first 3 degrees in Masonry by performing Masonic rituals, which the first degree is called the entered apprentice, the second degree is called the fellow craft, and the third degree is called the master mason. Once a mason reaches master mason, they can then go through the degrees of the royal arc. Once a mason surpasses those degrees, they can then learn other Masonic rites, such as the Order of the Knights of Templars or the Order of the Bavarian Illuminati, and also the Scottish Rite and Shriners, alongside of many other Masonic divisions. Masonry is truly one of the very first organizations, as the first Freemasonic lodge was unofficially created in the year 1598, but it wasn't until the year 1717 that the Grand Lodge was established in London. This date chosen is important and is no coincidence, as the order runs on the ideology of duality. When we look at 1717, we see 2 17s, which represents duality. Even though the first lodge was created in the 1700s, it is believed Masonry was already active since the 1400s.
Did someone just say secret societies that run the world? I think this guy has something to say about that as well. But I am just curious before I play this next clip. The Masons learned what they did, but who taught the Masons how to Mason?
Like I said earlier, live in a frequency band, a band of frequency. Anything beyond that frequency we can't see, we're not aware of. And, you know, people have no trouble accepting that the old analog system of radio and television stations are different frequencies sharing the same space without interfering with each other unless they're really close on the dial. You know, the analog system, BBC One and ITV and CNN, they're sharing the same space, but they're just on different frequencies, and the television picks up different frequencies as you change the channel. Well, in the same way, worlds or realities, it's a better term, are sharing the same space without interfering with each other unless they're very close on the dial. And at that point where they're close on the dial and there is some form of interaction, that's what we call ghosts and paranormal activity. And so these, not just reptilian but other non-human entities, are operating just outside of the human sun. And they have to have vehicles within our frequency band, within our world, that represent their interests, that are basically vehicles for them to manipulate our society.
The reptilian hybrids have been known to shapeshift temporarily into their reptilian form. So that's happened with 3 of them whom I know about. One of them, a beautiful hybrid living in England, her name is Charmagne. The way that she got confirmation that she is a hybrid was having an encounter with some of her reptilian extraterrestrials, and she has encounters with other types as well, and genetics from other types. But in one encounter when she was about age 27, with her reptilian extraterrestrials, they helped her to shapeshift into her total, pure reptilian form.
And she can do that, goes back and forth?
And she can go back and forth as she pleases. Mostly she's human.
Yeah.
And but when she shapeshifted into her reptilian form, she was absolutely delighted. Now, most of us might be rather horrified at the thought, but she was delighted because she had always felt some reptilian in her.
Oh yeah, that's just Charmagne. She's just our lizard friend. Don't mind her. And, that's like... I don't know, she's like so old. I don't know what purpose she would have in lying other than like fame, but I've seen some people that look way more lizardish than that woman in the picture. I don't know, you let me know what y'all think.
Party people, it's been a while, but I got something I need to show you. Check this out. Go to davidrumsey.com. Look up the genealogy of the ancient emperors of Tartaria. Okay, but in French, right? Look at this date, 1719. Watch this, folks. Watch this. The genealogy of the ancient emperors. Genealogy of the ancient emperors of Tartaria. The descendants of Genghis Khan. Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at this. Tartaria. All of Asia. Guys, this is one of the best map finds I've ever found in my entire life. You can't beat this. The father of Tartaria. The father of Tartaria is Genghis Khan. So then I realized what I needed to do was ask AI exactly, rank the top 20 largest empires of all time by square mileage. Look at this. British Empire, Mongol Empire. Guys, the Mongol Empire, that's Tartaria. That is Tartaria. We just saw the map from 1719. This is the second largest empire in history. The Tartarian Empire is the second largest empire in history! And just for comparison, look all the way down there at 17. Roman Empire. 17. Tartaria. Number 2.
I wonder if perhaps the British Empire had some motive for getting rid of evidence of the second largest empire, only second to them alone.
Here we can see the expansion of the Tartarian Empire at crigenetics.com, where I was looking up the genetic footprint of Genghis Khan, where 8% of all Asian men, 0.5% of the world's entire population is a descendant of this man, Genghis Khan, the father of the Tartarian Empire, the second largest empire in the history of the world.
I really need someone to explain to me why they're hiding the truth about the history of Tartaria and why they call it the Great Wall of China when it's clearly not their wall. No one builds a wall with the weapons ports facing inward. It's just not done. So yeah, I'd like to know why they are lying about it. I know Vladimir Putin tried exposing the truth about it, but I don't know, let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Part of the problem that people don't understand is Satan's people are people that have a bloodline of people that had worshipped him, their whole bloodline, their whole generations have worshipped him. These are the ones that he keeps in power and famous and full of money. If you study that's why if you just look at the richest people in the world and then look at their lineage and who they really are. Let's use Bill Gates for one. Can we just use Bill Gates? Well, I didn't know this because Bill Gates is like an innocent little nerd. I didn't know what Bill Gates was about. When I studied who Bill Gates was, I found out his father was a Grandmaster 33rd degree Freemason in the CIA and part of the Illuminati. I didn't know that about him. And when I found out the Apple dude, his father was the same. They was both Freemasons. Bill Gates traced his bloodline all the way back. These people are the richest people in the world. The Zuckerman over Facebook, same thing. The Queen and all of them royalty over in England, all of them are part of the same, I want to say tribe almost, because they trace their bloodlines all the way back. And the people that get in power are allowed to be. Listen to me, they are allowed to be. The ones that get famous are allowed to be. What y'all think these idol shows is about? It's showing you they making who they want. Because before you become famous, you have to have a certain spiritual mind to be famous. You have to have some rejection. You have to have some, because you need to have what they call affectation. You have to have a complex of wanting people to like you because you have such a low self-worth that you will do whatever it is to be liked. That's what they need. Because when they tell you to sign these contracts that's really covenants, and these contracts are covenants, and they tell you that you have just entered into a covenant, say amen, a person ain't going to think twice because they want to be loved. That's why all these artists later on, they talk about how bad their life is, they own drugs, commit suicide, because they found out fame was only a trap to use the gift, the raw gift that God put in them to influence the masses for Satan's ideas to be pushed. Y'all want to talk? So when you go back and you look at the Bilderbergers and you look at these are the people, what's his name? The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. These families trace their lineage, some of them all the way back to the pyramids. These people have been rich all their life because they have a supernatural connection to Lucifer. And Lucifer, Satan constantly gives them wealth. And what does Satan do? He gives them information. They take the invention. Can we talk? Y'all don't want to talk about this. That's why people like Einstein, they always say it just came. And then you find out what was their belief. They was atheists, agnostics. They was in some of the worst type of sexual pedophilia and all. And then these are the people that just channel and receive this idea that changes the world, that they get billions of dollars off of it. Are y'all there? Can we talk or not talk? And so anybody that has any influence is allowed to have influence. The reason why you and I can't get rich because they put stuff in place to keep us from getting wealthy unless we join a club. This is the reason why in every college they pick off the brightest, most talented, and they hunt them down to make them join those societies and join those fraternities and sororities. And those fraternities and sororities have their origin in Freemasonry. Every last one of them. Once they pledge, they just pledge to some deity God, and then they have their allegiance to that fraternity. No matter what they say about Christ, they have allegiance to that fraternity. And when the elitists and the people in high positions want to do something, they pick from those people who already know how to keep secrets, who already have sold out, who already have made a blood covenant. Y'all don't want to talk about this. And this is the reason why no matter how good and talented and good you are, people like that don't get nowhere unless they go into one of these societies. So go study the Black Greek Society. You'll find out why we're the way we are. Most of the preachers in this city are part of these societies. Most mega church preachers are part of these black fraternities. And this is called the Boule. The Boule is the Black Clan. They was put in place over blacks to keep blacks down. The white people chose those blacks, those educated, Morehouse, Howard College, Tuskegee type cats. They formed a fraternity under the Press Hall Freemasons and came up with the Divine Nine, which is all of them alphas and kappas and betas and sigmas and psi-phis and all that. And those are the ones that they keeping as gatekeepers over the black people. That's the reason why we can't rise. Jesse Jackson is I think he's Sigma Phi, and he's a high degree Freemason. Al Sharp, the high degree Freemason. Name a black that's in a high position. Obama's a 33rd degree Freemason. Nobody knows these things, but when they want to do something, they pick out of that because they need somebody that's already in allegiance with the elitist goal to put over us. That's why we can't rise.
Henry, you're a fucking mumbling, stuttering little fuck. You know that?
I couldn't resist. I had to put that in there. Relax. It was a joke, though.
The Terminator is the prequels to the beginning of The Matrix. Sarah Connor is actually Neo's mother. So JC, John Connors, Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in The Matrix. The Matrix is in the future. The Terminator is the past. It's time travel, past, present, and future time travel. It's the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. So the machines, the Terminator machines, hear that a child is going to be born that's going to terminate them in the future when they oppress man. Because see, it's a man versus the machine. It's God's children versus man's children, which was technology.
So man versus nature.
Exactly. So the Terminator has to time travel to the past because they know it's Sarah Connor. And they have to kill her, terminate her, so she won't have the baby. And Kyle Reese, he comes from the future to protect her, and he inadvertently gets her pregnant. And he has to go back to the future. And so it's the Immaculate Conception, because now she's pregnant and she fell in love with a man, but did it really happen? Did he exist? And then this child, when you see the three Terminators, the boy and then the man child, subconsciously he doesn't know why the Terminator is trying to kill him until he's hidden out in the city, in the Matrix, the future. When he reaches 30 years of age, the rebellion, the Reloaded, revolution starts. And the rebels come and they find him because they've been watching him all along. That's what the Guardians and the Sentinels are all about. And so they wake him up to his purpose. They take him to Morpheus to train him to fight the machines. They take him to the Oracle because of the prophecy. So this is the whole epic story. It's an epic.
Because this plays into why this sudden mental change on Facebook. Where is Facebook now a threat where they need to regulate them and shut them down?
Facebook is nothing but a database for the CIA. That's all it is. It has all of your family's pictures, all of your friends. It has all the information. They used it here in Vegas when they had that car accident. Remember when the Maserati right by the Cromwell? Yes, when that happened right there? Well, all they did was take camera footage from Caesars, Bally's, and other casinos. And they went and they took this footage and they got the license plates, and then they saw that the guy did, California, he rented that Range Rover. And after they did that, they went to social network and they found his girlfriend on Twitter's and they found his picture. And then they went to LA because they knew they were from LA, put his picture on a $250,000 billboard and put a reward up for him for $25,000. And they got him within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks because of the technology.
So how do you advise people to share their image, their data?
There's not going to be any more privacy. Everything is cameraed down. Everything is caught on camera. And this is what it's going to be about in the future. Virtual reality that I'm explaining in The Matrix and Terminator. Everything is going to be, so now it's going to be so easy. You're not going to have any more paper passports. It's just going to be where you come into the airport, they're going to scan you, your body, retinal, fingerprints, the whole 9 yards.
This is what clears about it. Right at the airport, that's what clears, yeah.
This way, nobody has to alter paper and put a picture or a name on there because they have your bone structure, they have your eyes, they got your fingerprints. This is the database, and they match you up. You see what I'm saying? And you go through. So that way no terrorists can come through and pretend to be somebody or somebody that they're looking for that's the most wanted. You see what I'm saying? Because all of this technology is going to start ruling. It's artificial intelligence. It's going to start ruling everything. Once the satellites come into play that I'm talking about, there's maybe another 5 to 10 years from now, they're really going to play a phenomenal part. Because this is why Apple and Microsoft became the billion-dollar, trillion-dollar babies, is because IBM and Xerox didn't know what a mouse was. A mouse meaning they didn't know what the internet was going to be. You see what I'm talking about? They didn't want to move into that technology. The studios don't know what streaming is. They got pissed off because Netflix paid $50 million and got 3 or 4 Oscars for the movie Roma. But it was never shown in the movie theaters at all. It was watched.
And that's why Steven Spielberg and all of it. You know, when we come back,
yes.
I'm going to have some of my crew to join you, my technical people, the superhero. We mentioned when you were coming on your lawsuits and the battles you've had to fight, and you've just won in Utah.
Yes.
But it's always a battle for you.
Well, the reason why it's always a battle for me is because the government refuses to protect my copyrights. You know, I own the copyrights to all the derivative movies, both franchises I own. It was adjudicated in Utah September the 25th, 2014. So why am I still with a RICO case here in Nevada, which I just won, but they're still trying to fix it so they can continue to use the stolen money, which is untraceable, and it's all linked to Hillary Clinton's foundation and money laundering.
Do you consider yourself politically neutral?
I consider myself totally neutral. All I'm worried about is for the people. Because if the government doesn't protect my copyrights, he doesn't protect yours.
But the government is afraid of you. I'd be afraid of you.
Well, there's no need to be afraid of me because I only stand for principles.
But what you know and the knowledge you share and what you have insights to can be very dangerous to some people.
Yes, but my job is to come here and waken people. That's what the Matrix is about, to wake you up from the Matrix, to get you out of the illusions and the lies and the ignorance. So it's not dangerous for me because that's my job. That's what I came here to do. That's why I wrote The Matrix and Terminator, to wake people up so they can move on to greater, better things.
Yeah, but a lot of these movie houses and these studios and the Facebooks of the world don't want people to know what happens to them every day when they share the information.
But that's destroying their free will, and God doesn't want that.
But people want to be ignorant. They don't want to know that they're being exploited. It requires too much responsibility when they find out.
Well, that's what the blue pill and the red pill is about. The red pill is about the blood of the living beings. The black and the blue ink is the machines. But this is the humans' world. We are the winners. They are the losers. So people need to exert their free will regardless of what anybody wants.
So what are the unintended consequences of all this that we're talking about?
Their people's consciousness will shift and they will go on to create and do better things. They won't be in bondage. And this is the whole purpose of the Matrix and Terminator and the new work that's coming, Matrix 4. It's a Matrix 4 book is out. It's been selling for 9 years, since 2010, around the entire globe. People have to wake up and shift their consciousness so they can create, so they can build. Because you can't stay in the past. Everything must change, right?
One of the things in the 1 minute that we have left, if you don't remember anything else about the broadcast today, is this: you're not as free as you think you are. You're in bondage in more ways than you imagine. And it's a different kind of slavery, very dangerous kind of slavery, that the mind and how we concede ourselves to people without any thoughts or any challenge, and we're so willing to surrender. freedom comes with a price. It takes as much to maintain it as it did to establish it. It's not really free, and it's not for the faint of heart.
But man is always going to take that challenge because man wants to be free. Look, everybody loved the Matrix and Terminator because it woke them up. They didn't even realize they were in the dream. They didn't realize they were in a simulation. They didn't realize they were in illusions. But now that they are awakened, they will fight.
Will you fight? Are you awakened? Are you ready to embrace your destiny? Because freedom comes from God, not from man. And the moment you realize that, you'll begin that journey of freedom. Thank you so much.
I want to say one thing. Like Morpheus said, I didn't tell you it was going to be easy.
But it will be fair if you fight the fight.
I had no idea that it was a woman that wrote The Matrix and the Terminators. That's pretty interesting. Call me ill-informed once again. But it's pretty crazy how everybody talks about The Matrix now. It's like you literally can't go, or I mean, I can't go probably 2 hours in my day without hearing something about The Matrix. It's like, it's funny when I was, well, as I said in the beginning, there was a lot of information to absorb in this video. So, I hope you all enjoyed it. Gonna get back to making another one. Hopefully more people see it. Alright. Do all those things, like and subscribe and stuff like that. Please. Thank you. Till next time, peace out, biatches.